What's up? This is Whitney Peyton, and you're listening to Concert Crap.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Matt from Concert Crap. I'm sitting down here with Whitney Peyton. How you doing, Whitney?
Good. I like how you probably said the name so many times that it sounds like one word when you say it, like Concert Crap. Like,
Yeah,
it's, it's awesome. It's like your own language now. You
I
just
know, right?
made it
It
one word.
just, yeah, after a while, it just comes so natural.
Just
But yeah,
rolls off the tongue.
yeah, it rolls off the tongue ever so slightly. But how you doing, Whitney?
I'm good. I'm good. As everyone else is. I mean, definitely, it's a crazy time. I'm sure that you've talked about that a lot on the podcast. So it's
hmm
kind of weird to interview artists right now. It's probably different than interviewing them a year ago and hopefully a year from now. So things are crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy for sure. Yeah, I would definitely say this is my first Zoom interview with an artist before, so it's definitely a different take on
Oh, Lord.
yeah, and it's also been a good minute too since I've seen you. I want to say the last time I've seen you was at Warped Tour in 2018.
Yeah, that was awesome. When I think about how you helped me blow up the raft and do all these extra things that are just not in your job description, but suddenly became part of your resume now, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun day spending it with you, Whitney. And as always, you put on a fire set. So as always, yeah, it was a pleasure just to help out and see you do your thing. So kind of tying to basically what you said, I wanted to ask you too is how you personally handling the pandemic. Like, what's been like your daily routine looking like? How you still doing music during this time? Just tell us about that right now.
Well, it's weird because as someone who's self-employed as an artist, my daily routine was never consistent anyway. The most consistent it would ever be is if I was on tour because you're basically, even though you're in a different city every night, you're kind of doing the same motions. You're like loading in, sound check, doing the show, and then on to the next spot. So when I'm home, I'm kind of an introvert anyway. So it just feels like in some ways I'm like, okay, as an introvert, I don't feel as affected, but of course I don't want it to come at the expense of people's lives. Like that's not what, I'm saying, but it just feels like the times that I'm not on tour, but it's very extended because usually I tour for like 10 months out of the year usually. So this is definitely different for me, but it is giving me the opportunity to write more and kind of put more into music videos and more into my recordings, which I couldn't do before. And I think people like me who would always be on the road, or even people who worked regular 9 to 5s that they can no longer work, you kind of find other like methods of income, so it's definitely being a creative. You have to create your income as well. It's not just the stuff, it's also creating those streams. You know exactly what I mean, being that you're a
No,
photographer and
exactly.
videographer.
Yeah, you put
So
it so elegantly too. The creatives have to be even more creative during this time too. Definitely
mhm.
resonate with you too, because I'm definitely a self-proclaimed introvert as well too. So it's kind of like going through this. Yeah, there are inconveniences, but at the same time, I'm just kind of doing my daily, daily stuff and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, I noticed that you signed to a new record label shortly before everything got shut down. I believe the record label is called Suburban Noise. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
yeah, Subnoise, that's actually Cottonmouth King's record label. And it's so weird because when I was a little kid, I remember sending press kits because I started recording when I was like 15 or something. So I say little kid, I was like 15 when I'm sending press kits to all the labels. And I remember Subnoise was definitely one that I was sending stuff to because it was very much my vibe in the sense that there's a lot of MCs signed to that label, but they're not like hard MCs. Like a lot of these guys are stoner, chill, laid back dudes. And even though I wasn't really ever much of a stoner, it was just that whole vibe and attitude that I was like, okay, like I relate to these guys a lot and their music a lot and their and what they're saying. So it was definitely a full circle moment to be signed with them. And I signed for the one album, so Alpha, which is out, and this is the first album that I've dropped that I did not tour on, but luckily it still did well. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it's cool to be signed to a label that I've known about since I was really young.
Wow, that's a real surreal moment too, just to like think back and like, when you were sending out press kits when you're 15. And then also too, I want to add too, that's something I definitely admire about you a lot, Whit, is just your work ethic. Like I always see you out there grinding. I always see you reaching out to the fans and whatnot. And that's something I definitely respect. So I wanted to put that out there while I had the opportunity. But yeah, that must be a really surreal moment, like as you put it too, just to see everything just come full circle too. That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you actually start pursuing your dreams, you start to meet your idols and that you start working with them and you start, you have songs out with people that you once just listened to or whatever. You're sharing a stage with someone who wouldn't have known you like years ago, never knew your name, knew who you were. And it's like it really kind of makes you feel like you're starting to make your mark because now people are hearing of you. Now they're fans of you. It's crazy. So that's just something that comes with just pursuing your dream with like a sense of urgency. Like that's what I always did. Like I pursue it like it's super urgent. And yeah, that's how I've always done it.
Well said. And you're such a busy individual too, but even with everything you're doing right now, you still even find time to make even more music. And what I'm referring to specifically is your second group, Keyed Up, as well. You guys have
Yeah.
definitely you guys have been definitely really busy, and I saw the Jane Doe TikTok music video. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I kind of like did a lot of editing on that. I mean, we had someone edit and then I was just like adding to it, but it was just funny because it just embodied the whole quarantine feel because that's really our only option. The other girl in the group, Gina Fritz, is located in Connecticut and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. So though we've been able to make music together and record music videos before, I was supposed to fly out there and I just couldn't do it because, Arizona at one point, I don't know where it stands now, but it was like the highest like COVID cases in the US for a second there. And it's like, they were telling us if we left, we'd have to quarantine wherever we were for 14 days. And we definitely risked bringing it, to anyone else. And that's not something I was trying to do. And I wasn't trying to be an inconvenience. I also wasn't trying to send a message out to fans that like, it's cool to just be going everywhere. I know people got to live their lives and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy because it's like that music video just is like a series of TikToks that were submitted from the fans to us, which we were going to use that anyway, like before like all the craziness, we were going to use the TikToks anyway. And then when I couldn't go out there, I was like, all right, well, since we're using people's TikToks, let's just do a whole social media theme and just do like Zoom call, like footage and do all these things and just do all these performance takes and just kind of use what's going on right now as far as people being able to relate to the Zoom thing. We're on Zoom right now, you know what I mean? People being able to relate to the Zoom thing. So I think it was just relatable to a lot of people and made some people laugh and people were stoked that their TikToks got used. And it was just a cool way to unify everybody.
That's really awesome, Whit. Yeah, I definitely was a big fan, just like the creativity behind it and just like bringing in your community with like not only your solo stuff, but also with Keyed Up as well, too. It was just honestly a really good effort. But between everything you got going on, how do you manage your time efficiently?
That's like my worst quality. So I'm glad from the outside that it looks like I have everything together when over here I'm like, shit, like, God, what am I doing next? I don't know what day it is. I didn't know if I could curse on this podcast, so I'm like trying to hold it back. But yeah, it's like there's always a million things going through your mind. I think I'm starting to try to get myself better at just setting reminders for myself when things are happening. I don't want to say the robot's name, but y'all know her name. If I say her name, she's going to respond to me. But I use that to remind me of stuff. Even this podcast, it was like, oh, podcast in 1 hour or whatever, so that I'm not forgetting things. Because for a second there, I was overloading myself and I was just like missing meetings that I had to do. And it was not because I was doing it intentionally. I just forgot what day it was. I think everyone doesn't know what day it is or year probably. So it's important to write ourselves reminders and try to keep our schedule because it's like, I'm not good with prioritizing either. I'll be like, oh, wait, work on this. That's like, I have to turn in tomorrow basically, or work on this that there's no deadline for it because no one knows I'm making this song. Oh yeah, I'm gonna work on that song. Like I don't.
Right.
I mean, as a creative too, you can probably relate to the fact that you can't choose when you're going to be creative. Like you could sit down and schedule, I'm going to write a song between this time and this time. It just doesn't work like that. It's you can't really schedule your creativity. So it does get a little wild over here, but hey, whatever. This is the life we chose, and I'm stoked on it.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel you on that. I definitely relate to that as well. For some weird reason, I've had other people kind of relate to this as well, but my magical hour is 2 a.m. If I'm up at that time, that's when all the creative juice is flowing, and it just happens for that 1 hour there too. So
Just one.
if I'm up, yeah, just that 1 hour. So I got to capitalize on that. It happens, like you said, too. It occasionally happens throughout the day and whatnot too, but I can always count on that magical like 2 a.m. hour to like get in like a quick edit or like get everything all synced up and whatnot too. So yeah,
I think it's because the world is more still at that time. It's like, especially if you're easily distracted, like doing stuff during the day or normal hours, people are calling you, asking you for stuff. People, things are going on outside. Like it's just the world is moving crazy fast. And yeah, I think at 2, it probably feels like it stops for a second.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. So the last question I had for you, Whit, is obviously with the creative juices flowing and whatnot, with your projects going on, I'm sure you have a lot of ambitions too that you want to do. I'm sure you can't talk about everything, but in terms of like thinking forward to the next year, assuming things start opening back up, what are your goals and aspirations for the coming year?
Man, that is so crazy. Well, it's funny because a lot of people will be like, well, what's your plan for this? I'm like, I actually don't think that far ahead, and I really should. But I mean, this year I dropped that solo record. I have the Keyed Up record coming out. We've dropped probably almost 10 music videos between Keyed Up and myself. And then next year, I'm sure, if touring is happening again, that I'll be able to tour once again. But I do want to focus on internet because that has been my weakest thing as far as content. Like usually I'm very consistent with touring, but before, like, music videos were so spread out, and everything I was releasing was more spread out. Or when I would make an album, I'd literally have like a week to make the album. It'd be like, okay, you're home for like a week from tour, so you have to make an album in that time, and then if you want to put one out this year, and then like go on the next tour. So yeah. So it's kind of like I'm used to that, and it's kind of nice to be able to, most artists when they're making an album or whatever, and I don't even know if albums are going to be a freaking thing anymore. It's going to be like singles or what have you. But most artists get to choose out of a lot of songs and decide which ones are going to make the cut for the album. When you're given very little time, it's like, I better make a good song because every single one has to make the album, because I don't have time to have filler tracks that just are going to get cut. You know what I mean? So It's kind of nice to be able to over record and then listen through and be like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but it's not really up to par with everything else, and be able to kind of like either rework it or just like trash it and move to the next thing. Because I think as an artist, that's really important too. It's not, for me, like a lot of artists, I don't know if they actually are that consistent or they just try to give off the impression that every single thing they make is awesome. Like that is just not, I think, reality. I think you just make a lot of things, and then what you decide to actually put out and present to the world. But I think it's really important to make garbage too, to be honest with you, because it's just important to like experiment and try, and then decide, okay, no, I tried it, but I don't like it. I'm going to try something else. So I haven't had like too much of a chance to just make stuff that I was like, okay, I'm not going to use that. I had to like use everything. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be really picky and kind of get to the next level that way. So I just think within the next year, as long as I'm polishing my craft and getting better and better, and I'm just putting out content more consistently, but having time to work on it and make sure it's the content I want, then I think that would help take me to the next level anyway, without having like a massive plan of taking over the world. It's just like, I'm just going to stay consistent, keep talking to the fans, and they're ultimately the ones who decide, because we think so much about marketing and like what we can do here and what's the algorithm and this and that. It's like, if you make something good, people are gonna share it ultimately.
Yeah, most definitely. That's something also to admire about you. You always keep it real. You're definitely, down to earth. So yeah, thanks for sharing all
Thank
that
you.
too.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
So that
No, I love
concludes.
following you too, because you have the most fire memes. I probably steal like half of them. So
Yeah.
memes are like one of my favorite things. I'm like, I wish I'm just gonna retire as an artist and like become a meme like Instagram or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my 2021 plans. Like, retract my entire last statement. I'm becoming a meme account. Like, who is it? What's his name? Jerry fucking that has the account.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
and
about?
Daquan. Yeah. And Daquan.
I don't want to say maybe I shouldn't shout out his handle because we don't want to give him any more
right.
more popularity than he already has. But it's like these people that have built entire careers off of meme channels.
Seriously,
Goals.
it's crazy. What a crazy time we're living in. So yeah, that concludes all the questions I had for you, but I do have a bonus round. From past Concert Crap podcasts, we do a spontaneous bonus round where I'll just shoot random questions at you, and then you just answer whatever comes off the top of your head, and we'll just have a little fun with it. You down?
Okay, I'm down.
Cool. Okay. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Nice. Favorite rapper?
Joyner Lucas right now. It's always changing, but I like Joyner Lucas.
Cool. Sounds good. Favorite venue you've been to?
Oh, dang, you really threw like a tough one in there. I think the Roxy in Colorado is pretty rad because people in Colorado just turn up.
Right? Yeah, that's cool. I've never been, so I'll have to check that one out. What was the last show you went to before the pandemic?
I think it was my own. I performed with Cottonmouth Kings and Mad Child in Las Vegas. Probably the worst place to be right before the pandemic broke out. But literally, that was like a week before things started going haywire. It was crazy.
Wow, that sounds freaking lit. That's awesome. What was the last thing you ate?
Ooh, I had eggs Benedict.
Nice.
I feel really like cultured for that one. It could have been ramen noodles, but it was eggs Benedict.
Right. It's like subconsciously you knew.
Yeah, I was like, wait, I actually had something that wasn't like that bad for me, I guess.
Yeah. Let me see here. Favorite WWE wrestler?
Ooh, was The Rock in the WWE?
Yeah, he was in. Yeah.
Him, because look at what he can. Who else has gone from being a wrestler to attaining that much success?
Right. Yeah.
And being good at it, like actually a good actor. So yeah, The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. Good choice. Summer or fall?
Fall.
Nice. Fall
Which
or
is
winter?
funny because I live in Phoenix. Still fall.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, that was the last of all the questions. Those were really interesting responses, and thanks for playing with that.
Yeah, but you don't even know. You say, like, if you said winter, you live in California, right? So you don't have to dig your car out of the snow, you know? I'm from Philly originally. So if you had to go to work, if you had a 9 to 5 and had to go to work, you had to wake up like 2 hours before you want to leave because you had to heat up your car and dig it out of snow.
That's freaking tense. Yeah, I didn't really even think about that too. So thanks for sharing that as well. Yeah. I've never had that experience before, and yeah.
I'm just gatekeeping the winter struggles from you. I'm like, you're not allowed. You can't feel any struggles from winter.
Nah, yeah, that's a valid question. Yeah, so once again, thanks, Whit, for joining us. Yeah, looking forward to what you're putting out. Whit has her single, her single project album, which is called Alpha, and then she also has Keyed Up's coming out with an album soon.
Yeah, it's called Left on Red, and it comes out October 16th. So it's pretty cool because the other chick in the group is a singer. So if you think a singing and rap duo would be interesting, then yeah, definitely for you.
Perfect. Yeah, so check out both of those. Her handle is at Whitney Peyton. She's on Instagram, Twitter. Are you on TikTok or Snapchat or anything like that?
Yeah, all that fun stuff. TikTok, Snapchat, I was going to say MySpace, Pornhub, OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. But just if you just Google it, you'll be able to find all those things. Minus the OnlyFans. I haven't resorted to that yet. No shade to anyone, but maybe I should make one and just have like my mixtape on there.
Yes, do it. Do it.
Like the rapper that pops up with the mixtape.
So yeah, follow Whitney Peyton on all channels. Check out her music. Check out Keyed Up, and as always, check out Concert Crap. We're on all the big networks. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and keep up with the conversation there. This podcast will be posted on Spotify, so check it out. Share with a friend, and as always, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.